Hello, this is Lisa Russick.
And Donna Murphy.
And this is the podcast. We're all psychic. Donna, do you still think we're all psychic?
I absolutely think we are all psychic.
And I absolutely think we are all psychic as well. And that is over with, guys. Listeners and watchers, this is a video on Spotify and YouTube. And we've got Donna back again. We love Donna. You love her. You know you do. You know you do, listeners and watchers. And I wanted to tell you, Donna, that totally happy that you're here as always. And she says
happy
yes every time, like I told you guys. So we're going to talk today about something that's we've brought up in a lot of podcasts about unethical healers, basically. People who are doing this energy work and doing bad things with it at your expense, listeners. Yes. So we're going to kind of give you some points and stuff, some things that happened to us, tell us stories, where we kind of had to distinguish if we were being conned or not, basically, or what they wanted from us and trust our own intuition, maybe. And some common techniques that you may run into from speakers. And I mean, everyone listening to this podcast right now, I think you've probably been approached somewhere on the internet by someone you follow who does readings of some sort. And they said, I would love to give you a reading, friend. I sense something around you. That's the most common one right now that I have, the biggest con. Like, Donna, you're an influencer and you're a famous psychic influencer on Instagram. You're going to have doppelgangers of you writing a whole bunch of other people saying they're you and trying to get because you saw something for them. I picked you out, and their name will be spelled ever so slightly different, and
there's always some little twist that lets you know that it's not that actual person.
Exactly. Yes.
I actually just had that happen on Facebook, not with a reader that I follow, but with another, again, famous person that it's Jackson Galaxy. It's the cat guy.
Oh,
I really like him. I have a lot of respect for him. I used to watch his TV show. I really like him. Similar situation. I thought I had followed him, which I did, but somebody else had made a slightly different page of his, but then started messaging me. And I'm like, this can't be him. I mean, he's not going to message me personally.
No. I mean, I've had about 8 Johnny Depps write me, hitting on me. And hello, friend. Hello, fam. Yeah. They do not address you by name. There's always something weird.
Yeah. Something was weird about that. There are little clues. I think we have to be really careful. For one thing, we're bombarded with information. There's an awful lot of information out there. There are people who are genuinely, who they say they are, and they're reputable people and they're ethical and ethical people. But then people start to copy them to see if they can funnel off or siphon off money from a follower who trusts the person they followed and is going to trust them because that's who they think it is.
Yes.
It's very unfortunate.
Some real serious red flags to me are that their grammar is not very good usually.
Yeah.
It's a big tell. And the people, if they're famous enough, they'll have people fixing their grammar or they just don't write. One or the other. And that's just a big, big tell to me. And not using your name and calling you friend or especially trying to scare you into a reading. That's the worst.
And that's another big, big red flag.
I see something dark around you. I had a TikTok person write that to me, like a random person. I like their video and they're like, I feel something dark around you. Can you answer my request and let me tell you about it? And I was like, delete. That's not good, guys. Yeah, there's never anything dark around you from a random stranger that they're going to know.
Right.
No.
Right. And
if nobody else has ever said anything to you, like, I feel like you haven't been feeling good lately. And this random person comes out of nowhere and is like, you feel weird. You look dark. That's not real.
Right.
That's what I'm getting.
Right. And that's a riff on one of the oldest cons in the book. And it's one of the things that I think gives readers and healers and, all kinds of people who are, I'll say, practitioners. It gives us all a bad name.
Yes.
Because this is just a more higher tech version of that same old scam.
Right.
Oh no, there's dark energy around you. Someone has put a spell on you. Someone has put a curse on you. I can see that. And by the way, for a fee, and not a small fee, I can take all that away for you. I
Yes.
can make all that go away for you. That's the old, and I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not trying to be politically incorrect, and I'm not trying to disrespect people from any culture, but that's the old, I'll say, kind of gypsy con.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's what the name of it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it's played. That's
Yeah.
the way it's played. A perfect stranger is not going to do that.
No.
And have anything, not with any good intention.
Not with any good intentions whatsoever. No one will do that. Even if I saw something dark, I don't see that stuff. But even if I sense, what I would sense is the person doing that not being right. Like I'm out in the world going, look, that person's covered in darkness. As a psychic reader professionally, I don't see that.
Yeah. No,
it's just not there. It's like that. Yeah. That's not how I experience it, But those people, I think they really are working with energy, and they know what to say because they read yours. And so that's why they're really good at manipulating listeners and watchers. That's what makes them so good at it, is because they're working with their energy. I think really, they really are witches. And, and psychics and whatever they want to call themselves.
Whatever they call themselves.
That's how they convince you. They shove all this fear into you energetically. They make you trust them with energy and make you fear what they say with energy, and the words themselves, and they say it gently. They don't have to be scary. It can be in words, and you can hear read between the lines, though, listeners, and you trust your own intuition. If you're scared talking to a reader, there's no way you should be reading from them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know sometimes people are a little bit nervous or a little bit anxious when they sit down for a consultation.
That's different than scared.
Right. I'm right. And you're making the distinction between maybe a little bit of anxiety or trepidation and fear. If someone is eliciting fear from you, that's a no-go.
There's something something that you need to look at there, or there's something wrong with that person. Yeah. And I kind of want to tell a story, listeners and watchers. I haven't told Donna this whole story either, but when I lived in Phoenix and I was trying to decide if I was psychic or not still for a long, long time, I went to a new age store like a metaphysical shop. There was a big one called Vision Quest there, I think. And I used to go to that one sometimes. And I tried to get a job there, but they never did give me one. And I went to another little psychic reading shop, and she actually gave me like an audition. She let me do a reading for her. I think I was like 30. No, I was like maybe 29. And she said, "You're good." She says, "But you're not there yet." She said, "You just need a few more years practice." And she was right, But before that, I went into this other metaphysical shop, and right next to it was kind of like a little church-looking building, a little small church. Yeah. And there was an older man working the counter. Older man, I'm 50. He must have been about, I was at the time about 29, so he probably was about 65. I'm 60, 70 maybe. He was older, but he had like the white beard and the white hair, like combed to the side when it was thinning, and he was wearing like a sari or a robe or something, and it was just a really like long, narrow metaphysical building, and they had all kinds of cool stuff that I'd not seen before. So I'm looking around, and I'm sensitive that day. I didn't know that's what you would call it. Like my empathy was on fire, but I didn't know that's what it was. I just knew I was really sensitive. That's why I had to go to a new age store. I wanted to ask for help. What's happening to me? Yeah. And that guy, when I came up to the counter, he's like, "Can I help you?" And I just felt his energy. I was like, "This isn't the right person to ask." And I just kind of wandered around, and he came back up to me. And after, no one was there. So I think someone else was there, and he was helping them, and they left. And then he came up to me, and he's like, "You don't seem like you feel too well." Now that's a red flag to me. Is there anything I can help you with specifically? And I understand a shop owner can do things, but you shouldn't tell people how they appear to feel, first of all.
Right.
I mean, at all. And I said, "No, I'm not feeling too good today." I said, "I'm just felt like coming in and, just seeing if I could find anything that might cheer me up or help me out." And he's like, "Well, there's a technique I do," he says, and it might make you feel like your anxiety go away. And I was like, "No, I always have this anxiety. I take medication for it, And I don't know what you're talking about, really, And he's like, "It's not scary. All I do is I put two chairs. We'll sit in two chairs, and I'll like put my hands on either side of you." I was like, "I don't want to be touched," because y'all listeners, At this point, I was like feeling something weird.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, I want to tell you, nothing bad happened here. Nothing bad happened. My intuition just was saying there's something weird about this guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want him to touch me. I just knew as a woman, he was creeping.
Yeah.
Right? It was just as a woman. That's intuition. That's psychic. We all have it, women. We know when a guy's creeping.
Right. And just to jump in just quickly, not to disrupt your story, but we really need to listen to that. And it's true for all humans, but women in particular, because often we are the target of predatory behavior by certain kinds of men. Not all men, but certain kinds of men. You have got to trust that. If someone is making you feel uncomfortable, I'm not saying you have to run screaming. I'm not saying you have to call 911, but you need to trust that, and you need to make some distance or create some distance as quickly as possible. Don't worry about being
intimidated. Pick up a stick or be really dumb.
Or some combination of the two. But I have kind of always kind of defaulted to, we all, I think, because we all get it drummed into us that we need to be nice, that we need to be polite. If we're being made to feel that uncomfortable by someone, I'm not saying we need to be aggressive, but we need to be assertive and not let somebody infringe on our boundaries.
Absolutely.
And we don't have to worry about being too nice.
Yes, that's what he was making me feel like energetically, like I was being ridiculous, but he wasn't saying that. His face didn't say that. He was saying, I'm understanding, I'm doing all these things. And he didn't touch me. He didn't touch me. Good. I agreed to sit in the chair. Yeah. And he said, close your eyes. And yet again, I said, just don't touch me. He said, I won't. And I could feel his hand like right over here over my solar plexus and behind me on my solar plexus, not touching me, but just like on either side.
But
now, listeners, this is what he did was Reiki, but I did not know that. He did not tell me he was doing Reiki. He said, do I have your permission to give you energy healing is what he called it. Maybe he wasn't Reiki. Maybe it was just energy healing of some sort. And he said, he's asked me to close my eyes. And he said, now imagine you as a little baby. He said, and just hold little baby you and tell her you love her. And how beautiful she is and how happy she is and how good her life will be and all this stuff. And I started to go into kind of a trance and I felt all this, and I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I just felt great all of a sudden. Like this, I don't think it was Reiki. I don't know what it was, but I felt amazingly cleared out and balanced and joyful and light and everything. Just like I felt like I weighed 5,000 pounds when I walked in there. But when he was finished doing that, I felt like I was a feather, and I was like, wow, what'd you do? I feel so light and like I feel better. And he's just like, it's like he was acting like it was him, Now that's another red flag because we are not doing the healing other things usually are.
Right.
Reiki
we're a conduit. We're really a conduit. Yeah.
He didn't explain any of that to me though, even though he knew I didn't know anything.
Right.
So, and I did buy like some bells and some incense or something. And I was in this like daze. And as I was leaving, he's like, I do have a church and you'd be a great fit there. He said, but you need to learn on your own. You're the type who does it your way. And you'd fit in great at my church if you want to come. He said, but I just feel you're going to have to do it your own way. And I was just kind of like, yep, not your way. But that was just like blown away by how light and great I felt after this man creeped on me, And I went to the grocery store and I went into the vegetable section because afterwards I went to the grocery store to go shopping. And I was just floating through the grocery store and all the fruit and vegetables had bright, vivid colors and smells. And it was all so beautiful. And I just floated through the grocery store and I floated home back to my apartment and I was just floating the rest of the day and I couldn't figure out what happened, but I think that was an unethical healer. And, in a way, because he didn't explain what he was doing mainly. And he was creeping. And every woman knows when they're being creeped on, guys.
Yes.
Sometimes
I really believe that's true. I really believe that's true. And I do believe we need to trust that.
Yes.
And again, it's really, again, I realize that's a different kind of imposition of someone else's will or energy on us.
Yeah. It felt like he wanted to collect me, collect me as a game piece or something,
Yeah. And I think it's really important that we keep our own boundaries firm and trust ourselves and not let ourselves be, I'll say, swayed or manipulated into something that we don't want.
If we know we don't want it to begin with, and they manipulate and trick and coerce us into thinking a different way, it's not necessarily changing our minds, but like making us feel bad to speak up and stupid to speak up or unenlightened to speak up.
Right.
We don't know what they know, so they're masters and gurus. So that's always a red flag to me as well. Guru is a red flag to me.
I understand. There absolutely are.
And call themselves gurus, though.
Right. Most of the best, I'll say all of the best teachers I know who really do have something of value to share, I would say invariably, no matter what it is, no matter what discipline, no matter what belief system, no matter what it is that they have to share, the one thing that I have seen that's a constant across all, dimensions is that they are genuinely humble people. And and I do not mean false humility.
I know what you mean.
I mean that they are genuinely humble people. They do not make themselves the center of the
God show.
The center of the show. Right, exactly. They're not the star of the show.
Yeah.
They have something valuable to share, and then they get, for me, speaking for myself, that I will give them my attention because I'm drawn to that. But it's not because they're commanding it, because they are the center of the, whatever the center of the universe.
Yes.
And anybody, I think, who acts like it's them, especially when using the healing modalities or the energy modalities, the idea that it's them personally, I'm always I have to say, I'm always a little leery of that, because I'm not saying that they don't have specific, I'll say, gifts or power or whatever you want to call it. But to me, there's too much ego in that.
Yeah.
For my taste.
For my taste too. Yeah.
Trust it.
Anyone who's separating me from the divine in any way and putting themselves in between it doesn't have good ethics to me.
I agree. I think it's unethical. I think it's unethical because truly, like we were saying before, to me, if anything like that comes through me, which I am starting to do some healing work with a person that I know trusts me, I trust her. We're sort of exploring some options together, right? Some work together. That was mutually agreed upon. I was very clear about what I know and what I don't, what I was willing to do or willing to explore, and what she was willing to do and explore with me.
Yeah.
And that's been a nice,
that's really good. That's a really good connection. It's been a great
partnership.
Yeah.
But I take no credit for what's happening. Personal credit for what's happening. For one thing, I think we always co-create.
Yeah.
Whether it's a reading with tarot, whether it's a reading of another kind, whether it's energy work, there's a co-creation going on there. We're both active participants. Whether that person's the recipient and I'm the sender, or, whatever, that's what's happening. It's an energy exchange, and it's coming through from whatever you want to call it, cosmic consciousness, the universe, the divine, whatever you want to call it. It's from something that's greater than both of us. We're both tapping in, and we've made an agreement that we're going to work together in that energy.
Yes.
That's not me and that's not them.
Right.
It's both of us to some degree. And then it's being part of that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That allows it to happen.
I like that. Yes.
And that to me, that's an ethical approach.
That is to me too. That's a great way to describe it too.
And that's perfect. And it's something I'm careful about, because you can't do what I've done for this many years and not know that we all can get kind of dirtied with the same, tarred with the same brush from the people out there who exploit other people.
Yes. Yes. So true.
So I think being really cautious and checking in about, again, not only what are our intentions, is our head screwed on right about what it is we're doing?
Yes, and we're just telling you all the things we found that are like just red flags tells that they're trying to get you. And I just wanted to start out like in the beginning of the podcast with the people writing you, because that happens to me all the time. And I'm like, this is so bad. Writing just randomly, like I follow an account and they have that name change. Sometimes it's someone I don't even follow and they just randomly write me. I was drawn to you. That's one you'll hear a lot. I was drawn to you. I kind of wanted to talk also about, this is just it's the same kind of thing, but it's a little bit different. Like sometimes, like in Alabama, definitely, there would be a lot of shops in all the little towns in Alabama in the last few years cropping up, metaphysical shops, but mainly they're witches. In Alabama, it's more witchery than anything.
Yeah.
So if they do practice metaphysical energy work or anything like that, and shoot, man, my mind just went to a blank and I was really excited to tell this. My mind just blanked, Donna. What was I talking about?
Oh, it'll come back.
It'll come back. It will.
Let's see.
Let me see. Oh, the shops.
Shops. Yeah,
like the owners. The owners are all witches, and then they start fighting with each other. The owners all start fighting, and then the employees will fight with the other employees. They never even met each other or anything, And they just spread gossip and hexes and curses and blah, blah, blah. I hear about this because I've worked in some of those Alabama shops and stuff, and they really do this stuff like to get business. So stay away from those people. If you go in their shop and they're talking about another shop, that's not a good shop. Badly about another shop.
Right. I mean, and first of all, if they've got any kind of legitimate gripe, they need to handle it the way professionals handle it, right? I mean, it should not be customers, clients should not be dragged into that drama.
No, they should not.
It's very inappropriate. If there's something valid that needs to be worked out, you work that out on your own time, and don't drag me into it. Because again, if I've come to you, the way I would look at it is,
I obviously picked you over them.
Right. I've come to you for a reason. Yeah. So let's focus on what we can do together. If there's something we can do together, I don't want to hear about other people. I don't want drama. I don't want rumor. I don't want gossip. And again, if you've got a legitimate gripe, you have to work that out.
Yeah.
On your own. Clients are
just
not
there as getting your help. Yeah. You're getting your help.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to think like another thing that I'm trying to think of like any kind of like phone work. And there's nobody on Everclear that I've called that's unethical. And the shop I work at Cosmic Connection, none of them are unethical.
That's wonderful.
Now, other phone lines I've worked for where they don't like screen at all. And you can just up. I mean, that's like... there are some tells if you go to some of them, I'm not gonna name them, but some of these sites or places that have platform, have psychic readers, listeners.
Yeah.
The things that you can tell about them that they might be conning you is if they make, like, for me, the big generalized flat out statement. Like one psychic said to me, "You have no love in your life. I bet I would love to help you with that." That's a hook line. I was just like, what the? Why would she say? It still rings back to me because it stayed in my head. You have no love in your life. She read my palms, and I'm reading. And she said all this stuff, and it was close to accurate. Some of it was, but then she said that at the very end, and she was just trying to hook me and come back.
Yeah, that's really.
You have no love in your life. That's a shitty thing to say to anybody, especially someone you're giving a reading to.
Exactly. And again,
it wasn't
lot of time. Right. First of all, the first thing is it objectively true? And of course, the answer is no.
Right.
But let's even assume for a moment it was objectively true.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to try to help somebody? Because again, that's what we're there to do. We're there to help.
Right.
So to me, that is an unhelpful, unproductive, unconstructive statement.
Right.
There are other ways to deliver a message when someone's hurting or when someone is stealing.
I was just getting a random reading, man. I wasn't even I wanted a palm reading. I didn't expect all that.
Yeah.
I was like, what? honest. And palm readers typically don't believe you can change your destiny, even though the lines change. I totally think you can, because I've watched mine change all my life.
Yes.
But any real palm reader will know that. But I was told by another psychic that most palm readers are not reading palms; they're reading through clairsentience, touching you.
Yes.
So, I do read the lines, but so that's always how she did it, Claire. She knew a little bit about palmistry, but other than that, just touch your hand and feel like and tell you.
Yeah. The only time I've ever done any palmistry, it's been with virtually no, I'll say, book knowledge of the art of palmistry. In other words, what lines mean what.
Yeah, that's all you really need. To do it intuitively, that's what you need. And what the amounts are and what they're doing and what that means. It's like, there's just a basic roadmap. My first podcast was just telling how to do that. Intuitively read your palms, because like up means this, down means that, grids mean this, line, all that, and where they are means. So it's like, just like the tarot, know, but a lot of palm readers are very definitive, so are astrologists. They used to be. They're not very definitive anymore. Now they give us more flexibility. The stars don't run us,
Right.
Right. Yeah. We co-create.
Yeah, I think there's been an evolution in all kinds of divination in that direction, including tarot. Tarot used to be, I would say, from people who used it purely for esoteric reasons, in other words, as part of a magical practice.
Yeah.
Then I think they avoided a lot of pitfalls. From a fortune telling standpoint with tarot, yes, I think it used to be treated as a much more absolute thing.
Yeah.
Like, here it is. This is the way it is. Again, I think you're going to have a really shitty life. Good luck with that. Goodbye and see you later.
Yeah.
And the understanding and application of divination, forms of divination, I think is evolving, just as we're actually all evolving to another level of consciousness.
That makes sense.
And that it can be used in a very different and actually very beneficial way, much more beneficial than an absolute.
Yeah.
Because really life isn't very absolute.
No, it isn't.
It's mostly not,
listeners.
Yes, it's mostly
we absolutely
not.
Now, Donna, do you have any examples? Like, were you ever conned by a psychic or anything, or almost tricked or anything?
I definitely had times in my life when I was very, very vulnerable. And I'll say two things. Yes, I did once have somebody who tried and actually I did pay them for a reading, right? I paid them for a reading, and, modestly, reasonably. But then, the whole spiel about, I can do prayers, and I can do, work with candles, and, and my favorite, if you give me a certain sum of money, I'll bless that money for you. Because
never heard that one.
Like I'll protect your money, because otherwise you're going to just lose all your money. And I was heard that. I just sat there really quietly for a short period of time, and I let her run through her spiel. And then I said, well, thank you very, very much. I'm going to have to give that some serious thought. Thank you for the reading. And I got my
polite. I would have been
got my ass out. Just to be vulgar, I got my ass out of Dodge as quick as I could, because I'm like, well, we're not doing that. Vulnerable or not, we are not doing that.
So she hooked you enough for the reading. You were curious enough with what she said, but then you realized she was playing.
Oh, once I started hearing that, and I was not a reader at the time. I mean, I already had.
You knew you're working on yourself
because I started really young.
Yeah,
I was working on myself, and I had already become somewhat versed in, in the cards and even some and stuff like that. And again, I was at a vulnerable time, and I wanted a reading, and I wanted some answers. But when I heard that, just like, oh, no, don't think.
Oh my goodness, Donna, you're using up like crazy. Are you there? Wait.
I know it says I'm unstable. Yeah.
You're getting unstable. She's getting unstable, listeners and watchers. She's unstable. Watch out. I guess we'll close it up then, man, if you're getting unstable, Donna. DestinyTarot.com.
Yeah, I guess we might
I'll put all her info, Maria M on Everclear, and I'll put her info in there. And advice with Frozen Donna, don't freeze. take action. Yeah, that's my advice. And listeners and watchers, I guess I'll wrap this up by thanking Everclear, our sponsor. Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And we are both on there. I just said you are Maria M. and I am Lisa Russick, and I will put all that info in the podcast description just in case you get choked up again and freeze on us. I was doing the wrap up. So you're all kinds of crazy. I love it. It's great. So Donna says she loves you. Oh, she is saying I said that.
I'm unfrozen for now.
Time we're peace out.